Hello everyone, welcome to episode 42 of the Stop, Drop, and Knit podcast. My name is Lisa. I'm coming to you from Long Island, New York, with a change of set for today's podcast episode because I'm recording at nighttime. So it's a little bit different this week, but I've got the house to myself for just a couple of hours while Owen and his grandparents are out with his cousins at the Polar Express. So hopefully I can get this all done before they get home. Okay, so let's see what has been going on. Pretty much Vlogmas. I feel like Vlogmas has taken over my life. There's just so much Vlogmas, everything going on. I feel like I'm just always editing Vlogmas. So yeah, I hope that you guys are enjoying all of the extra content and the extra like family type stuff that you don't normally get to see on the podcast. I'm pretty sure that your favorite thing, that everyone's favorite thing, is my cat Samson, because he sits there and hugs me all the time. So yeah, he is the best cat ever. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, pick a Vlogmas episode. He's in all of them. So I think we should just get right into it today. So let us start with what am I wearing? So today I am wearing my garland pullover. Again, I wore it for the last podcast episode too, but honestly, I love this sweater so much and I really wanted to be festive today. So I threw it on again. So 2 podcast episodes in a row. I seriously love this sweater. Let's see, I talked about it quite a lot, I think, in last episode, but I'll go over it again really quickly for everybody. This was a test knit that I did for Stephanie Lotvin of Tellybean Knits. Tellybean Knits, I think, is her Instagram handle. I did this for her maybe in March through May, and then she released it early fall, I think. And so it was just a really, really fun and easy knit. The way that she had it set up was that you could do it just 2 colors, or you could add like the little holly berries in there if you wanted to turn it into a Christmassy version. And so that is obviously what I chose to do. So for the color work of the sweater, I used minis that came with my Knitterly Things Club sock club subscription. I always get little minis added on to the sock skeins that Julia sends, and so I just dug into my stash and found some Christmas looking colors, and all of them have sparkles in them. So I don't know, there you go, you can kind of see a little bit, and if I move, that there's a little bit of a shimmer going on there. So yeah, I love this sweater so much. And then I paired those minis with a very rustic yarn from Barrett Wool Co. This was her woolen spun fingering yarn, and it's, I think the colorway was oats, and there's just little specks of, I don't know, little flecks of some brown, and there we go. I think that gives a pretty accurate, like brown and gray specks, and yeah, it's just pretty much an off-white natural color. And yeah, I thought that it was really fun to pair these 2 very different types of yarn together for this sweater. And then there's a little color work detail on the sleeve as well. And so this is my new favorite Christmas sweater. I'm so glad that I knit the Christmas version, and I'm so glad that I knit my holiday sweater last spring. And I didn't have to think about it or stress about it this year at all. So I highly recommend that. Next time you're thinking what should I cast on, even if it's the middle of the summer, go ahead and cast on your Christmas sweater, because life just gets ridiculously busy and there's never seems to be any time. So the other thing that I am wearing is a finished object. So I knit a Santa hat because I really, really wanted to knit a Santa hat. I actually purchased all of the materials for this last December, and I just never got around to casting it on. This is a free pattern that was from Cascade for their Cascade 220. and it's just a really, really basic Santa hat pattern. Really, really easy. I'm going to show you the yarn that I used for it. It's so cute. I love it so much. All right, so for the brim, I wanted to have something super, super cozy, and that reminded me of like fuzziness. So I found at Michael's this Burna Baby Velvet yarn. It's just 100% polyester. It is seriously the softest thing ever. It is so soft. This was very, very inexpensive. And then from the Knitting Cove, which is my local yarn shop, I found some Plymouth Select worsted merino superwash. So this is 100% superwash fine merino wool. And it is in this beautiful red that I thought would be perfect for a Santa hat. I don't know. Yeah, the color does not have a name. It is color number 3. Color number 3. Very descriptive. So yeah, so I had so much of these left over. I bought 2 skeins of each, and as you can see, I did not need either of those. And I have quite a bit left of both of them. So I still have this much left of each from the first skein. So I probably could make another 2 hats for sure out of this. I don't think this would be enough for 1 hat. So I would say I could probably, with all of this, eke out 2 more Santa hats, probably. So yeah, I would only need to buy some more pom-poms. And the pom-pom, I don't know what kind of pom-pom it is. It is ridiculously soft. And I purchased this also at the Knitting Cove in Port Jefferson. So yeah, I am so excited to have a Santa hat. I really wanted one for last year, and then I just never got around to casting it on. So, all right, that is it for what am I wearing. So let's go into finished objects. So for Owen's school this week, it's been like celebrate the holidays week at his elementary school. And so each day he had a different theme of something to wear. So the first day was, what was the first day? Oh, it was like flannel and fleece day. And then the second day was like holiday colors. And then the third day, oh, I should do this one first. So the third day for his school was wear a holiday hat, holiday hats, accessories, mittens, stuff like that. And so I had made this hat last year, which is also like the best hat ever. I'm trying to get it all on the camera right now. So this hat is the Otanim Bomb Hat. And I knit this last year. I decorated it up. I made some garlands with some like, I don't know what kind of yarn this is. Some like glittery plastic feeling yarn. And then I found these cute little light bulbs at Joann's and I stitched those around. So he wore this on Wednesday and I just love this hat so much. The Otanim Bomb pattern is a free pattern. And they give you like the basic directions for the hat and you kind of, and the star for sure. And then you can kind of decorate it however you want. So that was Wednesday for Owen. And then Thursday, put this one back on. That works. Thursday was Rock Your Holiday Socks Day at school. Well, Owen did not have any holiday socks, so I had to knit him some. So he got these cute little socks from me. And so he wore these yesterday. So they're slightly stinky, slightly. But I didn't put them in the wash yet because I knew I wanted to podcast and show them off. So sorry that they're dirty. But these were stash yarn. So let me show you the yarn that I used. I had several years ago, like before I was even pregnant with Owen, gotten this yarn. So this is Wisdom Yarns, and Marathon socks, I think it says, if there's a sticker over it, so I'm having trouble seeing. It's Marathon socks, and then it was their North Pole collection. And so this color, so it's 72% superwash wool, 24% nylon, and 4% metallic thread. And it's 100 grams. And so I had found this like at Tuesday Morning so many years ago, and I just never cast on socks with it. This is the Balsam Fur colorway. And so this was what I used. For some reason, I was never interested in working with it. And then for the red, I actually used the yarn that I used for this sweater, for those little holly berries. And now this is all that I have left of it. So this was one of the minis from Knitterly Things, sock minis. And so this was sparkly, and then this was sparkly, and Owen loves sparkly socks. He was so excited when he saw that I picked out sparkly yarn. And so I think that these turned out so cute. For some reason, though, they don't fit him. So the feet fit him. I'm wondering, so the pattern that I use for Owen's socks, I have been using for all of his socks, and I have never had this problem before. But it has been almost a year since I have knit him a pair of socks, and so I wonder if I misremembered which size to cast on for, because I think it was like you choose 2 sizes. And I'll insert the name of the pattern down here because I don't exactly remember what it is or who it's by, so I'll just stick that in right now. But it, like the smaller size you cast on 44 stitches, and then the bigger size you cast on 56 or something. And thinking about it now, 56 is the amount that I cast on for my own socks. So that would explain why they're so wide. The feet fit fine because I knew to measure those against his feet because his feet are growing like crazy. But I just didn't think that the whole leg part of it was going to be so slouchy. So maybe what I need to do for him is still cast on for the smaller size because he is pretty skinny and has like really skinny legs, and then just knit to the length of the foot. I also didn't exactly follow the pattern because I decided to use a short row heel instead of the heel flap and gusset that's in that pattern. But I had knit another pair of socks for him with a short row heel, which fit him perfectly. So I'm not really sure why these are so big, but they served their purpose and he likes them. They just kept like slouching down on his feet, but they're still super cute. And he, like, just as I do, he likes them not to match exactly. So I made his slightly different from one another. And like he wanted this one to have a little bit of red on the toe, but he liked this one without it. So yeah, so we just went with it. So those are the socks that I made for Owen for Rock Your Holiday Socks Day at his elementary school. So those are cute. And then I have another finished object, and that is the Musselburgh hat. So this is the never-ending hat. I have now finished this hat twice. I think it was not done yet the last time that I podcast, because I don't remember showing it to you guys. I think it was on a Vlogmas that I actually, that's the word I'm trying to spit out, that I actually showed this to you guys on a Vlogmas and not on the podcast. So I want to talk about this hat. Oh my goodness. All right, so this is what it looks like now. And it was a good 4 inches longer than this. And when I finished it the first time, I did it exactly to the length that the instructions said. So I was knitting the extra large size, the adult extra large. And in Isolde Teague's instructions, she said to knit to measure until it was like 22.5 inches from the cast on edge and then start your decreases. So that's what I did. And then I finished it. Obviously I ran out of my main color yarn. So my main color yarn is the colorway, the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, and it is by Knit Circus, and this is their Blueface Luster fingering yarn. And then I switched over to some more of Julia from Knitterly Things yarn. I have knit a pair of socks, both for myself and for Owen, with this yarn. And so when I was looking for yarn to pair with the Knit Circus yarn, I found this in my leftovers, and I was so excited because it matches perfectly, and that way I was able to use up her yarn as well. And then, so the first time I knit this hat, I also ran out of that yarn. So then I had to dig into leftovers again, and I found some other leftovers to finish it off. But I gave my husband the hat, and it was ridiculously too long on him. And he is not one that can pull off a slouchy hat at all. It's just, he's very finicky about his hats. It always takes him a little bit to get used to a hat. When I give it to him, he's always a little bit unsure about it at first, and then he grows into it, and then he loves it. But I could tell that this was not going to be one of those times where he was going to come around on it, because I also thought it looked ridiculous on him, the way that it ended up. So last night, I grabbed a beer, I hugged my cat, and I got my scissors because I wove in the ends so well that I couldn't just rip it out. I had to like snip the whole like beginning of it off. And then I spent like 15 minutes like unraveling. Well, first actually what I did was I found the place. So I measured the length of the decreased section. And so that was about 3.5 inches long. So I knew that I needed to account for like, to do the decreases over again, that was going to be about 3.5 inches. So I ripped back until 19 inches. So that's a big difference from the 22.5 that the pattern said. Or maybe it was just 22. I don't remember. It was either 22 or 22.5. But that's a good 3 to 3.5 inches shorter than what the instructions said to do. But that is what I did. So I inserted my needle like all the way around so that I could just rip it out, and then it would just be on the needle when I got there. So I did that last night, and then I finished it again last night, and I was like, this thing better fit him this time, because I have been knitting on this hat for like almost 2 full months. And I mean, I love the yarn. It's also a good thing I really love the yarn. So I wasn't at all sick of working with the yarn. But you know, like when you're so excited to finally be done with a project, and then you're not really done with it because it didn't work out, and you just got to rip back and do it again. But I was unhappy that he was unhappy, and I would rather spend the time, no matter how frustrating it is, I would rather spend the time redoing it and having a hat that he's going to enjoy wearing and will actually wear, than to have him be like, oh no, it's fine, and then never wear it because he feels self-conscious because it looks ridiculous, right? So I did it, and I fixed it all up last night, and then we tried it on today, and now it fits him really well, and he is so much happier with it, and he assures me that he will wear it. So now I am finally finished with the Musselburgh hat. So this is what it looks like that. And then I have not blocked it. Have you guys been blocking your Musselburgh hats, or do you just stick them on your head and go? I don't tend to block my hats, so I didn't know how necessary it was. And then it looks like this when it's folded inside itself. And then we're wearing it with the brim folded up like that. So it is finally done again. But like, I'm not ripping this thing out again. It is done. He is happy, and he has a hat, and I'm never showing this to you guys on this podcast again. Thank goodness. I feel like that took forever. Oh my goodness. Okay, so that is all the finished objects that I have, and now I'm going to move into Knitworthy. Okay, so Bryce is in the other room, and I just had to make sure that he had his headphones in and couldn't hear anything I'm saying, because I'm gonna share his Christmas present. So I started working on a Christmas present for my husband, and he knows that this is a project that I have been talking about making him for a year, a good solid year now. I have even acquired all of the materials for it almost a year ago. And I just, again, it's like one of those things, I just never got around to actually casting it on and seeing this project through. So if you guys have been long time Stop, Drop, and Knit podcast viewers, you will recall that back when Bernie Sanders was at inauguration day, I think is what it was, he had those mittens, and everybody was going crazy for the Bernie mittens, and I said I was going to knit those for Bryce, and I bought all the stuff for it, and I even like picked out a pattern, and I just never cast it on. So he's finally, now that the weather is starting to be cold, it's really not that cold here yet, but like January is pretty much like that time where it's going to be starting to get cold. So I guess inauguration wasn't until like January, right? So it hasn't been a full year, but most of a year I've been talking about doing this project for him. So I finally started it the other day, and this is what it looks like so far. And I am so thrilled with how these are turning out. Okay, so there are so many free patterns out there for these mittens, and that is what I was going to use originally. But then when I actually sat down to start on this project, the thing that got me to actually purchase the pattern that I'm using is that the free pattern that I thought I was going to use and all of the other free patterns did not have two things that I really needed. I needed multiple sizes. I could not get like a pattern for like a woman's medium hand to knit something for my husband, whose hands are very large. So a one size pattern was it was not going to work for me. And the other thing that was really important to me was that I wanted these to be as best a replicate of the original mitten, the pattern of the sweaters that the original mitten was made out of, because I know that they were cut up from old sweaters, recycled sweaters, and all of that. So it wasn't actually a mitten that was knit, but one that was sewn together. But the other thing about those mittens was that they were lined, and they had a lining inside. And so I thought that I was going to have to create that part of it on my own and just figure it out. So then I started looking to see, it's been so many months now since I was thinking about doing this. What other patterns have come out since then? And so I'll insert the name of the pattern that I decided to use. It is a pattern you need to pay for. I think it was $7 US, which seems like a lot when there are so many free options out there. But it was so worth it because there are charts for 3 different sizes, small, medium, and large. So I'm using the large size. And she also has instructions in there for doing the lining. So to me, not having to think about all of that stuff. I am not a pattern designer. These are kind of complicated mittens, especially with the construction and stuff. That it was a $7 that I was happy to spend to just take all of that thinking and figuring out off of my plate. So I decided, so we love Bernie and we love Vermont. And so because Bernie is from Vermont, I wanted to use a Vermont yarn. So I chose Green Mountain Spinnery's Mountain Mohair for this project. And I purchased this in 7 different colors. All right, so the white color, I'm gonna have to tell you all the color names. So I'm gonna pull out all my little labels here. This one is Edelweiss, right? So that's this lightest color, which is one of the colors in this section. And it's also the lightest color in that section. And so then the other colors for this section that I got, I mean, it's so beautiful. I love this yarn so much. So the lightest brown is this one, and this is the colorway Gray Birch. So there's that one. That looks like this. And then this is one of my favorites. There's such a nice variation of color. Can you guys see that on the screen? It's like a orangish brown, but it's got a little bit of red, a little bit of yellow in there. It's so pretty. So this color that I'm using for the medium brown is Spice. And so that's those two. And then this darkest brown that I'm using is also pretty. And the colorway on this one is Alpine Shadow. So the browns together, and then with the white, right? So those are those colors for the back part of the mitten. And I love how they're looking so far. Oh, and this feels so lovely. Yeah, I wanted them to be really warm because it does get really cold out here. So I'm super happy with how that is looking so far. All right, and then, so you knit that part first, and then you pick up some stitches and you knit this direction. So this is gonna be the thumb. This is the thumb. And that's the back of the hand. So what is this? This is the left mitten. So that's the back of it. And then it's gonna like come around for the thumb and the bottom part of the palm. And then the next thing I'm gonna do is having to pick up some stitches here and knitting this part, which is going to be in this color, blue. And so this blue color is called Glacier Lake. So that's this one. And it is really, really pretty. So much variegation in that color. And it's all done with the colors of the wool just spun together. And then the other two colors for the other section are these. So it's the same Edelweiss. And then it's these three colors together. So this light gray is Blizzard, is that what it is? Yep. So this is Blizzard. And so it's different from the light brown. Like they look very similar, but you can see when they're right up next to each other, they are definitely different. And then so Edelweiss and Blizzard, and then this one is called Sea Glass. And that one looks like that. And so, yeah, so you pick up, and so I did all of that just the other night. And then there's the blue part to finish off this part of the hand, and then there's also going to be a cuff. And then I'm going to use this for the lining. So this is Woolfolk Flet. And it's like a really, really super soft boucle yarn. And so I thought that this would just be something that would just feel really soft on the inside for the lining. So that is the plan, and that is so far my progress on his Christmas present. And this is actually the only Christmas knitting I am doing this year. Those of you guys that have asked also about Owen's Christmas sweater, he's not getting one this year. So last year in his first grade art class, he came home like maybe 16 days, like a little bit more than 2 weeks before Christmas with a sweater that he had drawn in art class, and he handed it to me and asked me to make it for him, and I did. And I was waiting for him to do another one in art class this year, and he hasn't done it. The last 2 Wednesdays I've been like eagerly anticipating getting handed a sweater to knit up, and I'm like, gosh, this is getting really close to the deadline. And he's got the same art teacher as last year, but she hasn't had them do it. I'm waiting for it to be like next Wednesday. It's his like last full day of school before Christmas. And then he has a half day on Thursday. If he hands me a sweater 2 days before Christmas, I'll make it for him for next year, because it's not gonna happen. So yeah, so I'm not stressing out with Christmas knitting this year, just this one project. This is just something that I have been wanting to make him for a long time, and it is seasonally appropriate, and I had already purchased all the materials. I think I'm gonna have plenty of yarn left over, so I'll probably actually either make him a hat to match and or make myself a pair of mittens too. So not exactly decided yet, but that is Knitworthy. Also, speaking of Owen and knitworthiness, he's kind of in danger of being kicked off of the Knitworthy list. He's doing okay. The socks, I'm still allowed to make socks for him, but next Wednesday is Dress Like an Elf Day. And I was all excited to start knitting for him a really cute elf hat, the kind that has like the ears knit onto it. And he was like, I do not want anything hand knit from you, Mom. I was shocked. And I was really sad, because how cute would that be? Really wanted to make an elf hat with the elf ears for Elf Day. Dress like an elf day. So he's kind of in danger of being kicked off the Knitworthy list. But he did happily accept the socks for Rock Your Holiday Socks Day, so I guess he can still squeak by on the Knitworthy list for right now. We will see. Anyway, that is all for Knitworthy. Let's move into whips. So I didn't even think that I really had any whips going on other than those mittens for my husband. But because it's been 2 weeks since I podcast, and this past week I've basically just been knitting like the Santa hat, the socks for Owen, you know, some little things, and that Musselburgh hat has been kind of the thing. That I forgot that because it's been 2 weeks since I podcast, I did spend a whole week working on my Shawlography shawl. It's still not done, you guys. It's still not done. I really haven't worked on any knitting for myself this entire week, except for the Santa hat. But I think since the last time I podcast, I had already started on the border, but I did work on it more for several days that same week. So I am now halfway. I have reached the halfway point of the Shawlography shawl. So if I fold it in half, I am like, I think this is halfway about. I'm halfway. I am there. There we go. It's there. I'm never going to be able to get this whole thing on the screen. But yeah, so I don't even know what to say about this other than it's still in the plans to get it done before Christmas would be nice. Definitely before the new year. Like I want this, I want Shawlography done before January 1st. So I think now that Musselburgh hat is done and then this is done, and the only thing, I've just got those mittens that I'm working on for Christmas. I think I can spend some time working on this again. I have so many things that are like big projects that I feel like I just need to kind of buckle down maybe in January and just finish all the things, excuse me, and just finish all the things that I started, like the bigger projects no matter how tempting it is to cast on something new. Although I did agree to test knit something for Annie that is due at the end of January. So there will be one new cast on. But besides that one, I'm not going to cast on anything new. I am going to work on finishing whips that have been going on these past couple of months, because there's at least 2 sweaters, and there's a sweater from Annie from like March that I still haven't finished. I should finish that one too. There's so many things that I should really finish that are kind of well underway already. So I don't know. Let me know if you guys want to have some kind of knit along. Okay, speaking of knit alongs, the Stop, Drop, and Knit Your Stash knit along is still going on. I think I will end this one, like I'll draw some winners at the end of the year. Like we'll get all the way through New Year's Eve. And then maybe for the first podcast in January, I will draw a winner or 2 from that. So if you guys have been knitting from stash, make sure you're posting over in the Ravelry group or on Instagram using the hashtag Stop, Drop, and Knit Your Stash 2021. Maybe the 2021's not there. It could just be Stop, Drop, and Knit Your Stash. Yeah. And then we'll do another one for the next year because I have so much stash and so much knitting. But anyway, back to Shawlography. So I feel like I talked about this one so much in the last podcast. But I don't know. I love the border. I love the border. It's just very slow and it's taking forever. Kind of feel like that with all of my projects right now, is that they're just slow projects that take forever. All right, so I'll do a really quick recap for you guys. All right, the yarn that I'm using is a full skein Party of 5 set from Sweet Georgia, and it is I don't remember, I don't have the tags, I don't remember the colors, but it's this one, it might be amethyst. This one, azurite, I think. Jewel. I'm trying to remember. And then peacock, and the purple one is velvet Elvis. So these are the 5 colors I'm using. And all right, so we started. Where does this even go? All right, here we go. So we started here, and that was the cast on, and then these short row wedges were section number 1, clue 1. Clue 2 started here, right there, and went all the way through here. That was quite a bit of knitting. So we had this slip stitch section over here, these loop-de-loop things, I-cord loops. This thing reminds me of like a spider web or something, but it's just like another slip stitch section with some stockinette behind it. Some, what did he call these? Wefts? No, not wedges. What did he call? Welts. Welts. These welt tab things here. Triangle section there. Bobbly bobbles there. And then this really long short row section here. And then section 3, clue 3, was this brioche section here. Well, the yarn over thingy-majig here, brioche here, and then this cross stitch section there. And now clue 4 is this ginormous border tying it all together. So, oh my goodness. This would make a really great Christmas tree skirt. It's certainly big enough. What do you guys think? This could double as a Christmas tree skirt. It's not exactly the right colors, but it could be. Maybe that's what we should do. Maybe we should have a Shawlography Christmas colors and make Christmas tree skirts out of Shawlographies. Would that work? for the clock. Would that work? I'm gonna have to like take my Shawlography when it's finished and put it around the tree and see if it's actually big enough to be a Christmas tree skirt. It certainly feels like it would be. What do you guys think of that idea? That could actually be really fun. Shawlography Christmas tree skirt edition. I might do it. I might do it. It's been a really, really fun knit. And this could look really, really amazing in Christmas colors. All right, wait, hold on. What do we think? If it starts here in the center, would that be long enough to wrap around a Christmas tree? Let me know what you guys think of that. I think it might actually be super cool. All right, thinking for next year already. All right, guys, that is all the knitting that I have for you today. It's the only whip I've got going on. No spinning today, no acquisitions today. So let's go into natural dyeing. Okay, so I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. I'm not gonna get the shop going before the end of the year. It's just not happening. So yeah, there's actually still so much work that I need to do to get ready to open up. So my new goal is to get the shop up and going before I start my full-time position and I'm back at work full-time, and that starts January 17th. So early January is my goal, my new goal, trying to be a little bit more realistic because we also have to find a place to move. And we haven't started looking for a place to move into yet. And we have to be moving with it like over the next few weeks as well. So things are just really, really crazy over here. And yeah, things are going awesome, and I just have so much work to do. So let me tell you a little bit what I have been doing. I haven't really been doing any more dyeing, but what I have been doing is with my plant dyed yarns, I have been doing some iron after baths with them to alter some of the colors to get a wider range of color available. And then what I have done with my mushroom dyed yarns is, well, I separated them all by base. Also my plant yarns, I separated those by base. And I went through them all and I grouped together sets of colors and am now in the process of making little mini skein sets. So yeah, part of why this is going so slowly is that I do not have a fast way of measuring the yardage. So I need to get something to speed up that process. So I don't know that I'll be able to get an ideal tool in time for this first opening. So I just might have to be using my scale and my nitty knotty to create mini skeins for my full skein sets. So that is just taking a lot of time. But I have the cutest little mini skein set here. Oh my gosh, I want to show you guys. So this was the first rainbow of my mushroom and lichen dyed yarns, and they're so pretty. Look at that. So I was able to take 6 full skein yarns and make 5 mini skein sets out of them. And then there was a little bit of extra yardage. So I'm keeping the extra yardage for myself as samples, which is about 15 grams each. So these are each 20 grams. So I was able to take each skein and make 5 sets of mini skeins where each color is 20 grams each. And then I had a little bit, like about 15 grams of each color left that I'm keeping for myself as kind of like a reference, and so that I can make my own something out of them. Yeah, just kind of samples of what I've dyed for myself. So I have 5 of these that will be going in the shop. So all of these, except for the purple, were dyed with mushrooms, and the purple was my lichen dyed yarn. This is making me so happy. These are so cute, and these colors together look amazing. I'm so happy with these. But yeah, this to make 5 sets of mini skeins has taken me a ridiculous amount of time, and I have a lot of other sets of colors that I've put together to divvy up into mini skein sets to put in the shop as well. So I think for the, especially for the mushroom dyed yarns, for the sock base, that's the way that I'm going, so that I can get the great, beautiful colors to as many of you as possible. It seems just the best way to do it is to put them in mini skein sets. And then there will be some things that are full skeins. I've got a few gradient sets in my singles base that are going to be full skeins, I believe. Yeah, so not everything will be minis, but a lot of the sock sets will be turned into minis like this. And so I'm really excited about it. So these, both of these colors here, this beautiful pinkish red and orangish, were from the same mushroom. These were from a Cortinarius semisanguineus mushroom. This beautiful yellow was from the artist conch, the Ganoderma applanatum mushroom. And then both of these colors here, the darker green and the bluish green, which I only had 2 full skeins of each of these colors. And so, yeah, just the best way to do it was to make mini skeins out of everything. So these were both from Hydnellum mushrooms. They just turned out really differently. And so I don't know if there were different types of Hydnellums or just something in the process that made them a little bit different, but they're both gorgeous. And then this, oh, I dropped it. And then this beautiful purple was what came from my lichen jars outside that I've been fermenting. So I'm so excited about this set. So these I've already divvied up into mini skeins. And then I was able to put another rainbow together. I didn't have enough of this yarn to keep a blue in the next set. So what I did for this set is I made a rainbow, but instead of the blue, I put kind of like a cloudy, whitish, grayish color. And so these are kind of tied together right now, so that, because I grouped everything in the colors that I wanted to keep like color families in. So this is going to be turned into another 6 color mini skein set for you guys. And then I didn't bring anything else. I didn't bring anything else to show you on today's podcast because it's a lot. It was a couple of days of me just kind of like looking at all the different colors that I had and figuring out which ones went well together. I figured in terms of like matching colors to see what looks great together, that was easier for me to do on my end than trying to do it over a computer monitor or a phone screen or something, because honestly, like, to see the accuracy of the colors, it's really like you just need to see them in person. And so since I don't like have a shop in person, and obviously we're doing this online, I wanted to make sure that all the colors that you guys were getting were going to work together and that you weren't trying to like pair colors together on your own, because a lot of them don't look as good together as others that look amazing together. And so I wanted to take that guesswork out of it for you guys and just pair things together, all set to go. So I'm really excited about having mini skein sets, but I have a lot of work to do to turn all my yarn into mini skeins. So unless I can, like, the thing that I was looking at to measure my meterage is sold out for the time being. So I have to wait until that is back in stock or find another option that makes financial sense right now. So yeah, I'm just gonna be working my little tushy off, getting everything together, but early January to like before the middle of January, I want that to be all in place so that I can just get back to dyeing yarn on the side when I'll be back to working full time again in my new position. So I want to have the shop all ready to go before I go back to work mid-January. So that is everything for this episode. I wish that you all have an amazing holiday season, no matter what you celebrate. And I hope that you guys have been enjoying Vlogmas. If you have had a chance to watch Vlogmas, they're pretty fun. And I know it's a really busy time of year, so if you're not having time to watch the Vlogmas, no big deal. But they are there for you. So I will be doing those through Christmas. So I'll be doing Vlogmas videos through Christmas Day, and then those are gonna stop. And then I will record probably one more podcast before the end of 2021. So that's kind of what I'm planning, like that week in between Christmas and New Year's, I hope to record one final podcast for you guys. So have an amazing holiday season, and I will see you guys all soon. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Bye-bye.